Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to be installing a coat rack. Now when you put a coat rack up, it's very simple to put it up, but there's a couple of things you have to know before you do anything. As you can see, I put tape on the wall here. I set the height that I wanted to have the coat rack located at, like this. I put it exactly at the height I wanted, and then I measured off. In the back of it right here, you'll see there's these cleats that hold it in place. These cleats are designed to go into a stud in the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to hit these studs right here, so that way when we put it on there and we hang the coats on it, it's not going to pull out of the wall. Now if we cannot get a stud, then we can use what's called a drywall anchor, but we're going to try to get a stud just to make sure. Now I did measure it, and I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to explain to you exactly what I did, and then we're going to hang this coat rack up and get this job done. Okay, this is an example of what kind of tools you're going to need to actually put that coat rack up. The tape is optional. I use the tape because it's much easier to make a mark on the tape than it is to actually write on the wall and then have to try to paint over it or whatever. You're going to need a pencil, of course, to mark the stud. We're going to need either a regular screwdriver or we're going to need a electric powered screwdriver. You will need a drill as well. This tool here actually doubles as a drill. We're using it now as a screwdriver, but if we take this bit out and we put the drill bit in there, we can use it as a drill, of course. Now, again, you'll need a measuring device, something to measure the location, so you're making sure it's exactly where it's supposed to be. We're going to need a stud finder to find out where the stud is inside this wall over here. These come in very handy, but if you don't have these, you can drill a very small pilot hole and try to locate a stud like that. I don't like doing it. For the few bucks for this tool, you're better off going out and order it. Now when you put it up there, I will point this out to you as well. You could put the rack up, and you'll need a level to level. You'll need a level to make sure that it's perfectly level here. But if you don't have a level, you can use your phone too. The phone itself has a level built into it so that you can actually use it to make sure that it's exactly level on the wall. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our stud finder and we're going to make sure we can find the stud in the wall. Now I've already measured it out already, but you'll need to do this yourself to find out where a stud is located. This stud finder will tell me where it is located here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come along here. And this is where our stud starts, right here. And right there is where our stud ends. And as you can see here, I marked on a piece of tape exactly where the stud is, so I know exactly where we're going to put the screws to hold the coat rack in place. Now we did the exact same thing on this side over here. Well, again, we came in here with our stud finder and we came along here and we found out that that's where the stud starts. And right there is where the stud ends. So we marked where the stud is here, and now we're going to try to drill fairly center of that stud to locate the rack on there. Now when you take the rack itself and you go in the back over here, we take our measuring tape here and we measure where it's going to be located, these screws to hold it in there. We get 17 inches. So we need 17 inches to hold this onto the wall. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come up onto here where we have our beam located, and then we're going to come in here 17 inches, and we're going to center it in the opening itself so that we are in the beam. And then we're going to take a pencil and we're going to mark where we're going to drill here, exactly 17 inches here, and we're going to put a mark right here as well. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to measure up from the floor exactly the height that we want it set to, and we're going to put a mark here. So we come up with a cross right here, and the same thing right here. we put our cross mark right here as well. Now this is personal preference. It depends on what height you want to have your coat rack at. But this one here, we're going to do it at 58 inches. So that's what this is, 58 inches this way. And we're in the center of the beam this way. And now we're going to drill a very small hole here and a very small hole there to make sure that we're in the right spot. Okay, so now as we have these marks here, we're going to take a very small drill bit, usually 1/8 of an inch to a 1/16 of an inch, and we're going to drill a very small hole to make sure that we hit a beam right here. And that you can hear is a beam right there. So we're going to drill it just a little bit, about 1 inch in. Same thing on this side right over here. We're going to drill it very slowly. And again, we hit a beam right there as well. Okay, so now that we have our 2 pilot holes drilled in here, let's take off that tape. Now the tape was just to give us a good reference point. You don't need to put tape on there. I just did this so I could show you what I was actually doing here. Okay, so now that we have the holes drilled in the wall right here and right here, we're going to come in with the screw that usually comes provided with the kit, and we're going to screw it in there. Now, if you had to use a MOLLE or a drywall anchor, this is what they look like. I will put a link in the video either down below or up top so you can see how drywall anchors actually work. But if you had to, you would drill probably about a 1/4 inch hole in the wall here. You'd put the anchor in, and then this screw would screw into the anchor. But we didn't have to do that because we tried to catch the beam, so we don't have to install the drywall anchors in the wall. Now, you can screw it in with the regular standard screwdriver if you choose to, like this. Or if you have an electric screwdriver, you can do that as well. That's what we're going to do. And you want to screw it in until you have about a 1/4 of an inch still sticking out. Okay? And we're going to do the exact same thing on this screw here. Just like that. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this here, and we're going to see the slot right here. I should say like here. The slot right here. We're going to put that over the screw and slide it down, and we should be in good shape. And that's it. Our coat rack is now finished. Now that's the good thing about screwing it into a stud in the wall, is that you don't have to worry about at a later date this possibly ripping out of the wall. It's pretty much in there and it's not going anyplace. All right, so this job is done and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.